G'day everybody, welcome back to Spouts Tarot. So today's reading is going to be about a dream that you've recently had, and for some reason you can't forget it, but you can't remember it concretely, and you just want to know what that was all about. So it's probably happening in some sort of moment in your life, like a pivotal turning point of some sort, or you're at an emotional point where you're trying to recall something, a past feeling. So I actually had a dream of that nature back a few nights ago, and I did a reading for myself, and I was surprised at the message. Okay, so from my side, I briefly had good feelings for somebody, but and he obviously had good feelings towards me, but it wasn't the correct time. So it was basically the wrong time to meet. But and it's been many years actually since that incident. However, he suddenly popped into my dream, and I wasn't thinking about him during my waking hours, nothing whatsoever. So it's just one of those crushes that we've had from a long time ago, and I was surprised at why did my mind create this story that involved him when I'm not consciously thinking about him at all. And so I did a reading for myself, and basically the main idea behind that dream construction was that it was my higher self telling me to surrender one part of myself that I'm currently having control issues with. Okay, so I do have control issues because I have Sun in Aries, and so I thought that was kind of useful advice, and I wasn't even really aware of that, but I am a little antsy. So I do understand why my mind did decide to construct this dream for me to get me to surrender more to the flow of life. Okay, so these cards I have not even turned around to look at yet. I have literally shuffled and these cards came out, these three cards. I asked for three cards and these three came out. Specifically, the sequence went one and then two cards fell out. And same with the other oracle deck that I'm using in addition to this tarot. One card came out and then two came out. So just on that alone, I think possibly these two could be connected. However, these are the objects that I've put on top of the cards to maybe allow you to have a better idea on which pile you like. Now, these are three objects that I actually foraged for. So I buy crystals, but I do tend to collect shells and stones and pine cones and acorns by myself. So I go foraging for these goodies. So these are all handpicked by me. So I've got this seashell from a beach, and this is from a river, and also this is from a park. So take your time and just go with whatever feels good to you, and I'll see you in a little while. Oh, welcome back, Group 1. So if you picked this seashell clam, this is going to be the dream analysis for you. Okay, so when I flipped over these cards, this one came out reversed and this one came out upright, because there's only one way to read this particular oracle deck. Now, this is something that is going to be the unknown element until we've done the tarot spread. So this is going to be maybe the advice, the action, or the to-do card, okay? So we're going to leave this one unveiled at this, we're going to leave this one veiled at the moment, okay? So this is the secret. Okay, what is this card about? So upright, as you can see here, this is like a classic alien abduction story going on. So the dream that you have had that has maybe perplexed you could in fact be an alien abduction dream. That's definitely one possibility. So in this particular instance, the card that precedes this talks about the taking away of cattle. You know how the kind of extraterrestrial phenomena you know, they take away cattle or make shapes on the ground, etc. However, this time they've returned the cattle and they're abducting this farmer's wife. So they've changed. They've made an exchange of some sort. Now, other dreams which fit this are any dreams which involve a swap, an exchange of some sort, like a changeling, for example. Anything to do with the fairy folk, especially. Okay, so maybe in your dream sequence, you go to the you go to the shops, and I've had this shopping spree dream for quite some time, and you buy a lot of clothes, and then or any other thing, and then suddenly you find out that either you don't have enough money, or the thing that you've bought actually are not the items that you previously selected, and you're arguing with the service person about this thing that you've ostensibly bought, but you go, but I didn't buy this, okay? So anything like that. I've actually had one dream where I dreamt that I was walking down the altar intending on marrying this particular person, and then finally when I reached the part where I'm supposed to exchange vows, this person is not the person that I thought I was going to marry. So any of those stories, okay, so any exchange phenomena is going to fit this particular reading. Now, the deeper meaning to this card is you may feel recently that the hard work that you've been putting in, whether it be a hobby or like at work or even in a relationship, the effort that you've put in doesn't feel as though it's being rewarded fairly. So you don't feel things are equitable. So this is the grounding card of the dream and the connection of why this dream may have come up. And now to further clarify, we've got this fortune. So we've got this treasure chest, okay? So as you can see, there's a lot of sand here, and maybe these are valuables, I'm not so sure, but there's the hope, right? So whenever people go on a treasure hunt, it is a belief that there is going to be a treasure at the end, so they will be rewarded for their efforts. However, as we all know through those pirate movies where X marks the spot, sometimes we go to the spot and then we don't find the treasure that we are seeking. So this card basically talks about a change of fortune. So maybe things that you expected aren't going to be, or some things that you aren't expecting will suddenly appear. So now we've got two pieces of this puzzle. Okay, so maybe a change of luck, either due to karma or just the natural progression of life. And then there's a feeling that somehow you've been shortchanged, or maybe the thing that you're wanting, you're not getting for the effort that you've put in. Okay, so this one is going to be revealed after we do our tarot spread. Okay, so let's see. Please tell me what is going on in my lovely group one's life that this dream should appear today. What is going on in their life to elicit this particular dream? Okay, so let's go. Please give me a significator for group one. Okay, significator. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, lovely. So 3 of Wands. Now, let's see in which area in your life. So that's 3 of Wands. Okay, so remember, we're feeling maybe the efforts that we're putting in aren't being rewarded, but now we need to see in which area of our life that this is occurring in. So remember, we have 3 of Wands. Okay. Oh, that was not a very good split. That was a little bit on the skinny side. Oh, okay. Okay, so you can just see, like, besides being unco, which in Australia means uncoordinated, there was something that just happened, right? So there was a slip of some sort, there was a mistake. So let's see whether that will hold any meaning further on in our reading. So we had 3 of Wands before. Okay, Three of Wands. Where are you, my dear? Three of Wands. Oh, there we go. Okay, so very likely it's in the realm of a relationship of some sort. So it can be a business relationship, a romantic one, or, you know, even within your community. And it involves you moving on somewhat. Okay, so let's check out the sequence first before I say any more. So the first card that drops out starts the spread. Okay, three cards fell out. Okay, so let's check them all. Okay, so since we've got them all this way, let's just see what the other cards, whether that has meaning or not. Okay, all right. So let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Two of Swords. Okay, so what it looks like here. Okay, so right now you are caught up in something, but that something is ending. At this moment, if you take a look at what this card is upright, it is a scarecrow. And then there is a girl that's sleeping there. But the Seven of Pentacles talks about basically working, toiling. It hasn't reached the point of exhaustion like the Nine of Pentacles, but it is a period of, well, basically working, okay? And trying to understand what it is that you're trying to cultivate and do. However, because it is reversed, what you're probably feeling at the moment is that tiredness, but that tiredness is not really so much physical as it's kind of like a melancholy life existential kind of tiredness that keeps us kind of stuck in bed or saying no to every invitation because we just don't have the energy and we don't have that feel good thing in us that makes us want to say yes. And so the beginning of this cycle can turn into despondency, and because generally you're not feeling kind of happy and you say no to invitation, which means you reject new opportunities that are coming your way, maybe to revitalize yourself or to make more money or to make more friends, then there is a sense of cornering ourselves into that dark spot, that doom scrolling, nobody loves me, that kind of angle in life, which is really not conducive for the love and compassion that you can share with the world, and which is what the Empress is really famous for doing, is to grow things through love, kindness, and patience. Oh, sorry, my alarm. Sorry, that was just my alarm. Okay, so at this stage, I don't know what has brought on this particular funk, this miasma that you're kind of surrounded yourself in or fallen into. Of course, you need to start all over again. So you need to move on. And it doesn't necessarily mean like make a drastic change and, like skip your country and stuff like that. It just means take on a new mindset, because here, the Three of Wands card, which is your significator in the realm of emotions and relationships, you have to let this particular character rest or pass over. Clearly, they were not equals. So in order for her to move on, and we don't know the cause of his demise, it could be her, but he could just be a roadblock and somebody else did this to him. So we don't really know. But she does need to move on from this particular situation, or she's forever going to be blocked by a past thought, emotion, or a past relationship with someone. So this part is most likely where you are at But what is underlying it is very good news, because the cycle is ending. And now the new mindset, the new story that you're telling yourself, that makes you say no to everything, that makes you want to escape through the realm of sleep and dreams, is beginning to shift. So now you're telling yourself different stories about who you are and what your life course could be. And of course, when you've made this particular mind shift, you reach this Nine of Pentacles, which is the desire for the better things in life. And the better things in life, this particular shift, always begins with taking care of yourself first. So instead of always feeling bogged down by negativity and saying, oh, maybe I feel too heavy, I don't have enough energy, you go, okay, so what if I put down, for example, these chips and I eat an apple instead? What if instead of taking the car, I walk this time to the delicatessen or to the convenience store? So you are capable of making these minor shifts and changes in your life to start bringing more care into yourself, so that eventually when your body functions well, your mind will also be in a better state, because you've got better regulation of dopamine and things like that. So the question that is asked of you here is, can you separate these two kind of like narratives that you currently have and choose one? So the classic Two of Swords means that you're seeing things, maybe you kind of like feel, oh, there's no way out of this, but that's not really a reflection of reality. That's more of an internal realm that you've projected onto the situation. Because if you look at this card upright, it seems as though she's surrounded by foes. But this water reflection of her shows what the situation really is. And it's just herself with this blindfold on, but there's nothing scary that surrounds her. So this is all a mind projection game. And so in order to move from this to this means you've consciously have to make that shift yourself. So you have to decide on the new story that you're going to tell yourself. You're going to have to understand that all bad things do eventually end and finish. So accept that this cycle has ended and it is time to move on, time to tell yourself, what was that? Wow, this is something just fell. Okay, it is time to tell yourself, and that was opportune, wasn't it? Something clearly just fell outside of my study room and it shocked me. And I think a shock is going to come towards you to jolt you out of this phase in order for you to be able to realign yourself into a more positive way of viewing life. Okay, so now this is maybe what's kind of going on in your life to trigger off this dream sequence. Now let's reveal what the advice is going to be. Okay, so, oops. Okay, so this is Avarice card. Okay, so it's similar kind of to the Fortune. It is the breaking of this vase that has long held a lot of coins, right? So what this card particularly talks about is the projection that society has on what you should and should not have. And hence, maybe it parlays into your own consciousness of what you feel you deserve or should have. Okay, so a lot of the times we don't actually need that much for ourselves in order to be happy. But when we see, especially these days, it's not keeping up with the Joneses, it's keeping up with everybody else on social media. So you see somebody Instagram a photo of a particular restaurant spaghetti and then you're tempted to try. And without realizing that, maybe it's just the cheapo San Remo stuff that you can buy, yourself at the supermarket and just, slap some sauce, add a bit of basil and voila, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's like keeping up with the pressure of not only real life, but on social media. And maybe it's time to kind of step away from that particular facet in your life and really ask yourself, how many things that I say I want is actually due to an internal desire, like a legitimate desire for wanting that thing, and even that wanting versus needing. And then on top of that, ask yourself, how much of that is pushed on me through social media or people who are around you? And I think that this is why maybe you feel as though you're not being rewarded correctly, because you're basing this assessment on what your world is telling you you deserve versus what maybe you really want or you feel you deserve. So I think that's the point of conflict there. Okay, so that's all I have for you for this dream analysis. I hope it helped in some way. Please don't give up, because you are going to get this opportunity for you to step forward and move on. And this particular mindset of maybe feeling a tad negative will dissipate quite soon. Okay, so that cycle is on the way out and a new one is on the way in. Okay, so as usual, thank you very much for allowing me to read for you, and I wish you all the best, and I look forward to meeting you again next time. Bye. Welcome back, group 2. So if you pick this lovely pine cone, then the dream analysis for you would be this. So a dream that you had recently, or one that you cannot figure out, probably would have involved some sort of center focus on you via a light. So if you take a look at this card, this person is looking at this aerial object, and instead of being afraid of this aerial object, he seems to be saluting it, or he's trying to make contact with it. So he's not at all afraid. And what you can see around him is a very normal, everyday circumstance. And you can see that he's got binoculars here. So he's trying to look for something special anyway. But so it happens, this flying saucer hovers over him, and now he's captivated by this unusual occurrence. Okay, so in your dream, maybe it did involve an actual flying saucer kind of scenario, or it could be, for example, suddenly you're on a stage and there are these strong lights which focus on you and you can't see the audience, for example, but you can't see really what's out there, but you know that you're at the center of attention in some sort of scene. Okay, it can also include things like people thrusting microphones and cameras in your face, like a celebrity type dream as well, where you're the actual celebrity. Okay, so the other card that I've got, the Oracle card, which complements this particular dream scenario, is the Transcendent Light. Now, this, of course, is self-explanatory. So it's the coming together of our material world with some sort of higher insight, okay, some sort of divine inspiration. And we all get variations, especially in today's day and age, where most of us are not really anchored by a traditional religion and we're more spiritual. Generally, most of us are kind of spiritual more than we are religious. I mean, I'm not knocking religion. I'm just saying that as a general evolution of where we are in today's society, we are more attracted to ideas which give us some sort of liberty to the daily struggles. And so it is the seeing things, the mundane, on a higher perspective, not necessarily viewing things exactly as they are, but trying to understand the behind reason for why certain things occur. And so if you take a look at this guy who is fascinated about this sudden light or attention towards himself, it is a card that is signaling, or it is a dream that is signaling the desire to move away from the mundane and to have something more special, a more like dramatic life experience to jolt you into a new, different kind of way of thinking. So that's what these two cards suggest to me. So, which means currently, maybe you're stuck at a dead-end job, or maybe you feel as though life is kind of dreary and you're hoping something spectacular will happen to you. And I think the other part of it is trying to understand that life in itself is sacred. So, yeah, you can try to aim for those huge moments, your 5 second of fame, especially in today's world. It's not 15 minutes of fame, it'd be 5 seconds going viral. And versus seeing the context of what life truly is, which is an experience. So even if life is just quote unquote normal, the fact that you're here means something. So maybe you're trying to approach life from these two angles. However, before that, let me explain. This final card here is the secret, the answer, the action, the to-do card. And I don't know what's here yet. So this one is going to be a surprise for me and for you after we finish checking out what tarot has to say about your current situation, and hence why you have that dream. Okay, so first of all, let's try to get a significator card for this reading. And I'm using one of my favorite shadow decks because this is a dream, so not everything is clear. Hence, we're going to delve into the shadow realm. Okay, Dear Darkwood Tarot. Oh, there we go. There's a significator card. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, group 1 got this one in reverse. Okay, so, well, you're growing something. Okay, now let's see which area of life you are growing something in. Okay, but that's a fantastic significator card. That's really good. Empress is creativity, creative energy, and the growth of something. So you're heading towards something. Okay, so where is this growth that you are heading towards? What area of your life? Okay. This is always fun, trying to work out which area. I mean, we all know, if you do study tarot, we know what the Empress is, but we also need to know in which area this growth is going to take place in. Okay. Finances would be the answer. Oh, and almost towards the end of the deck. Okay, so it looks like it has to do with finances of some sort. It can connect to family or your job, but I think more specifically it's finances. So I have an idea, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let's see where this goes first. Okay, the first card that falls out starts the reading. Tell me, what is this about? What is this about? What is this dream trying to tell group 2? Okay, let's see. All right, beautiful. Oh, nice. There we go. Starting something. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Beautiful. Okay. Now, it looks like, so like I said before, over here, the bottom of the card is maybe feeling some sort of exhaustion, because you can see she's laying on the pumpkin beneath this scarecrow. So what does a scarecrow do? It scares away birds. And however, if you take a look at all these round coins that lay here, maybe it is also scaring away opportunities. So this is one thing that is maybe underlying this particular phase in your life. Be careful that you don't, quote unquote, sleep away opportunities. For example, it doesn't have to be like literally sleeping. I mean, though it could be, but not keeping your eyes open for opportunities and chances and serendipitous encounters. Basically becoming so grounded in an autopilot mode that you just don't see anything. You don't see the miracles of life. So I think that's a cautionary note here. Okay, you are encouraged. And sorry, today I've just noticed that I just rechecked the first reading that I made. I keep on making this sucking sound, and I'm so sorry. I'm not even conscious of it. I was made conscious of it after I looked at the first readings footage, and I said, please don't do this again because it's annoying. And I just noticed myself doing that again. So I don't know. Is that a message for somebody? Like, I keep on making that sucking noise, and I'm annoyed at myself for doing it. So please excuse me. The underlying theme in this reading is it is time to grow something. So here is basically the feeling you're kind of in just a rat race, Groundhog's Day repetition. So you're wanting some way out. And this situation, kind of this light that's being shone on you in this dream form, gives you that impetus, that drive to seek or explore something which is different from your everyday life. And that's what you are hoping for. So right now, or quite recently, there has been a decision in your life to take charge and to once again rekindle the passion that you have for life itself and the way that you see things, the way that you're doing things. Because here you've got right at the center where you are, this is a brand new beginning. So in tarot, this is what we call the major arcana. And once you get this full card, it means it is a big realignment, and you're starting from like point 0 or 1, and you're going to begin a brand new journey. And also you've got here the Ace of Swords too. A brand new idea is already, either it already has appeared or it's going to appear very soon. And there's a message for you to don't miss opportunities. Okay, so don't fall asleep. Don't miss what is coming to you next. You've already made the decision to rekindle this passion that you have for life. And part of that is the desire to have a good life. It is to be more self-sufficient, to look after yourself, to be in charge, okay? And that's where the growth is going to come. It's going to come from you simply taking charge. Because maybe what is causing this transformation is the simple fact that you feel things are not worth it. Okay, so maybe the prior cycle that you had before, if you take a look at this cute little rabbit, right? 3 cups have fallen, though 2 are still standing. So the hard work that you did before is not meaningless. However, you're not looking at what you've gained from the past. You're only kind of sad about the cups which have fallen, which you can visibly see. However, the past experience that you've had is definitely, the wisdom with it still is within you. The knowledge, the wisdom that you've accrued, you're going to carry with you. So maybe you've just come to that realization that anything which has happened to you which didn't turn out the way that you imagined is not at a loss at all. Like there's a reason why certain things happen. And because of this understanding, because of this desire to take charge of your life once again, to aim for something higher, you are going to end up, or this new idea that you have, this inspiration, is going to give you a very, very fruitful result. Because, I mean, the Ten of Pentacles is basically achieving material success. I mean, it's that simple. It means getting the thing that you want to get, what you're aiming for. So right now, my guess is there's been a shift in the way that you are perceiving your reality. And it comes maybe from some sort of spiritual epiphany. And that can come through, listening to maybe even a Joe Rogan podcast of some sort before he went crazy, or depends on what you define as crazy, but listening to a podcast, reading a book, even eavesdropping on a particular conversation, and it suddenly caused a shift in your perspective. And maybe this desire for a light to be shone on you is no longer necessary in order for you to feel special, because you can see that. You can see the connections and why things happen in your daily life, that you don't need that special moment in order for you to feel special. Does that make sense? So, yeah, okay. So, okay, let me give you a 3-second story of myself. Okay, when I was a kid, I was invited to do this particular animal dance. And at that time, I think I was a rabbit or some sort. Okay, so I was some sort of animal that was a vegetarian animal, or like what I am now. And even though it wasn't like a major part, I wasn't the central figure, but I acted that part with all my might. And I didn't get any recognition for it, but in my mind, that was an Oscar moment. And I think that's what we need. We need that dancing like a rabbit and getting our own personal mind Oscar, even though maybe other people didn't really notice our efforts, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's take a look at what the advice is. Now we've got this black colored card, which means that this is a core issue. Okay, so it's a core issue. So let's see what the core issue of this actually is. Okay, so it's wisdom. Okay, so if you can see this configuration here, this is a Celtic symbol. And you know how these links all intertwine? So it gets back to this message, right? Everything is connected. Nothing is ever wasted. An experience is never wasted. And ultimately, it's never really... that's debatable, considering I was tempted to say nothing's a bad experience, but that's a little far-fetched considering the state of our world's affairs. But okay, let's put it this way. Everything is a learning experience. And without going through some rough patches, we can never understand the good things either. So our wisdom develops through time. And so the serpent is always representative of wisdom that accumulates through time. And it's the shedding of skin also. So through every incarnation that we have, we shed the skin and we become like the version 2.0 of ourselves, and eventually 3.0, etc. And so it will bear fruit. And so over here, it is asking you, I think in this context, to understand that the way that you perceive your material reality is, of course, very, very important. However, more than the figure, the amount that you can earn is the experience of engaging in life itself to earn this thing we call money. But it's basically just a token for participation to see what life really is. And if I remember, I think this one is actually, I think there were like a few questions. Here, let me just refer to the actual textbook. I think this card actually had, the last time I did a reading for myself, I think I got this card. And I remember the questions being quite prescient. And let me see. Serpentine. Okay, wisdom 59. Okay, let me see if these questions are relevant to you. Okay, so it says, okay, can we see here? True wisdom is effortlessly applied knowledge. Okay, now that's wonderful, isn't it? So it's like after you go through a certain experience in life, all the data that is collected during that particular experience later on becomes wisdom, right? So wisdom is kind of like data percolating in our minds and trying to find a synaptic pathway in how it creates a thinking loop for us. So once we have enough experiences, it becomes second nature, that naturally we will know what to do when a particular situation presents itself to us. Okay, so what were the questions here? Okay, here's something that's good. Oh, okay, let me read this, the commentary section. Wisdom is evolution. It is being one way, reaching the limit of that way and making a new way, then integrating all ways as a situation demands. There is no shortage of intellectually brilliant people in the world, but the wise are few and far between. Okay, so if you get this card, let's see, here's the question section, okay? If you get this card, it may be asking you to stop and consider the following questions related to your situation. Was that situation really a waste of time? Have you forgiven yourself for it? If not, then when will you? Or do you expect someone else to wise up just because you have gotten the point now? Is it time to reevaluate your position to the matter on hand based on past experience? Are you listening to the advice of someone who doesn't have any direct experience about the matter? Okay, so it is, so kind of what I said before, it is the initial desire to have a special moment and coming to the higher realization that life in itself is a special moment. And so once you've made that realization, the passion reignites for you to chase or to pursue what it is that will give you this, the Nine of Pentacles, which is basically independence for one, and it is having basically the things that you need to make yourself happy. And you are on the brink of starting a brand new phase in your life in which your past disappointments act as wisdom for you to carry forth, for your new inspiration idea to come to build the Ten of Pentacles, which is basically the material goal that you want. Now, once again, be careful not to miss any opportunities by not being awake. So don't fall on autopilot. Okay, so that's all I have for you in today's dream analysis. I hope that helped. I feel as though this is kind of woo-woo for me, actually, this particular reading. But anyway, thank you, as always, for allowing me to do a reading for you. And I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Oh, welcome back, Group 3. So, if you picked this lovely river stone that I got, this is the dream analysis for you. Okay, so the card that came out was 3 ghosts. So 3 of ghosts. So as you can see, this is the sign of Libra connecting 2 tombstones. Okay, now what would this dream look like? Okay, this dream would have somebody who has departed in your life appearing, coming back to you and actually giving you a message, saying something to you. Or it could be like you see here in like a cemetery of some sort, in which you're visiting someone or something happens in a cemetery like dream. Or trios, right? So 3 moths, 3 crows, 3 3 ravens, three anything, but a trio coming at you. And in the dream state, you actually notice that there's a trio of something, and in that dream state you acknowledge to yourself, that's strange. Okay, and I'll tell you a really spooky story. I keep getting this particular card, and just the other day I peered outside of my window, and then I saw 3 black crows, like kind of like relaxing on this kind of wall structure that I have kind of outside my home area. So I kind of got the spooks actually, because I just drew this card a little while ago. Okay, also for another reading. So if you clicked onto a reading a few weeks ago, you probably would have seen this. Okay, now the accompanying card is the actual Dream Weaver. This particular dream card of seeing things in threes, or maybe seeing somebody who has already passed on, and then in that dream state they come back to deliver a message like to you. It is actually a spiritual guide or an ancestral guide, or even like a guide of place. Okay, so we have guides which belong to a certain area that we live in, and then there's guides of our own flesh and bone, then guides of our particular timeline. So we have many guides in our lives, in our life. So a message is coming to you, and this card, the Dream Weaver card, grounds this even more, because this card specifically is asking you to pay attention to your dreams. Either keep a dream journal, which is something that I'm very reluctant to do because I'm really lazy. And you might even receive a lucid dream further on, like a little while later. But the dream aspect is going to be super important, because something important is coming through that medium. So there is going to be a message via a dream specifically for you. And this card is basically telling me to tell you that. Now, this third card here, we're going to keep as a surprise. So even I don't know what this card is going to say to us. However, I do know by the color that it is a specific action card. So this is from the Sibyls Oraculum. And there are kind of 4 categories of cards, and this specifically is advising you to do something. But what that thing is, at this stage, I have no idea, because this is going to be our little surprise. Now, to find out concretely what current situation you are in, I'm going to use a tarot deck, the Darkwood Tarot specifically, because this is a great shadow deck. So to get our story, we need a significator. So let's see. Please tell me, dear Darkwood, what is the significator card for group 3? Let's go. Okay, significator card for group 3, please. Oh, there we go. The Knight of Wands. Oh, you're taking charge. You're heading off somewhere. Okay, where? Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands. Okay, now let's see. In which aspect of your life is this happening in? So maybe your ancestors or your spirit guides is trying to give you a heads up on this thing that you're wanting to undertake. Either words of encouragement or maybe some sort of guidance. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, let's see. Knight of Wands. Oh, there you go. Okay, this is either going to be a new relationship that you're planning to enter into. If not that, it's the beginning of a new emotional state. Okay, let's see which one is it. Okay, first card that falls out starts the sequence. Okay, what is this all about? What is this all about? Ooh. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Oh, wait. I've just got, she's showing a female body part that I'm not sure I can show on YouTube. So we're going to have to cover that. Beautiful. Oh, page. We need a message. Okay, now let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Beautiful. Okay, and I need to get a message. Okay, let's see. We need to get a message. Okay, so dear Page of Wands, what message do you have for group 3? What message do you have for group 3? Okay. Allow. You're being asked to open your energy field and take down your walls of protection in order to allow goodness into your life. Sometimes, without even realizing it, we block ourselves from the flow of life. It's safe to open yourself back up. Oh, that does make sense, doesn't it? Okay. There is a message that's coming to you in the dreams, in dream form, because it looks like you are prepared to charge ahead with some sort of ideal or goal that has ignited your passion. And in this case, it would be a relationship of some sort. First, you need to face, there's a shadow aspect of yourself, and maybe this is why this message is coming through. Maybe you have blocked off a part of yourself that is necessary to open up before you can actually go forth and start this relationship. I mean, relationships are just a manifestation of the emotional control that we exhibit to ourselves. So if we can control ourselves or understand ourselves better, our relationships will flourish and we become more attractive to others as soon as we start understanding and loving ourselves, because that's just the way the world works, okay? Seen by one lowly sprout tarot reader on the internet. Okay, so the starting off card here, we have the Devil. The Devil is always the archetype. It's just like an animated form of our shadow. And as you can see, this Devil character looms larger than life. Okay. However, this fire that is burning, the Devil is also forms part of our desire structure. Even things that we try to repel, it's actually part of ourselves to begin with. So we must acknowledge it in some way. And this person feels as though the Devil is proportionately so much bigger than herself, right? This is the protagonist that starts off this Tarot thing. Sorry, I must explain. Okay, so what we see here is the outward projection of a shadow that she has tried to miniaturize, because maybe she feels society will not look favorably on this aspect of herself. And in order to make it smaller, inadvertently, she has created this monster to be even more powerful than what it really is. So the very first thing that you must do, there's maybe a shadow aspect of yourself in regards to feelings and emotions that maybe has formed some sort of blockage in the past, and hence maybe there have been relationship turbulences because of this, and now it is asking you to address this aspect of yourself first. Because underlying that is a deep level of sensuality and even sexuality, the enjoyment of the human body, the senses, any pleasure point that is material. That can only be fully accessed once this shadow is understood. And so if you don't understand this shadow, this part of yourself can never be released. And if it cannot be released, you are stuck with fearing something that is not actually there. So the progression card of this sequence is, or this starter card, if you take a look at this top half of the image, she's got a blindfold on. So she's just imagining what's surrounding her, and she just imagines monsters. However, if you look at the reflection of what things are really like, the water reflection, she's actually sitting peacefully by herself. So there's nothing to attack her. She's not in any dire situation. However, in her mind currently, she thinks that the world is a really scary place. And so the only reason why that happens is because the shadow aspect of yourself in regards to sensual pleasure especially is creating this image. So now you have a choice to make. And if you look closely here, we've got 7 cups. And each cup represents a choice that you can make. So this first cup is basically creativity. So having creative or artistic expression, this is using intuition. And of course, this is, I think this is passion. Yeah, passion, love. And this is the Tower. This is basically the tarot sequence, okay, major arcana. And this is the Tower moment, which leads to disillusionment. This is the Wheel of Fortune, where things change. This is integrating the shadow aspects of yourself. And then, of course, this is the Temptation. She can choose now. So right now she's standing on this sort of like whoop whoop, she's in whoop whoop somewhere, and she's releasing these bats, hoping that they will make the correct choice for her. But that's actually the wrong way to go about it. She needs to turn herself around and pick wisely from the choices. And she means you. So right now, because of this shadow or fear, the options that are available to you, maybe you won't be able to exercise clear judgment enough to choose carefully. So it's better to confront the shadow first before you embark on this decision. I mean, the 7 choices, there are no good and bad choices really, because it depends on what stage you are in your life. Let's just say, for example, you grew up in a very orthodox religious kind of family. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just, you know, it was just a life situation. And now maybe you're at this stage in which you're beginning to question the doctrine. the indoctrination that you've received in regards to maybe your own sensuality or sexuality or even earthly desires of any kind. And now you're really wanting to understand the notion of temptation. So even if you were to choose this temptation cup, it wouldn't be wrong, because it is trying to exercise another experience of life. However, it's better to make this choice in a clear-headed manner rather than succumb to fear and make this choice. However, once you've made this choice, you will reach a point of no return. So if you can see this particular card, this is the vampire and this is our protagonist here. So what do vampires do? What are they famous for doing? They're famous for this particular kiss at this vulnerable point in our anatomy, the neck. However, once you cross over this threshold, she will never ever be the same again. Okay, so she will turn. And that's what this particular message from your spirit guides is trying to tell you, that you're at a stage in your life that what you do next will change you on a very fundamental level. And you need to decide. Basically, the big decision for you is, what are you going to do? And you need to make more of a concrete plan on what it is that you would like to do. So over here, as you can see, she's got, look at the seductress that she is. So she's got this fella here lying on the ground, and she's got like a streak of blood running from her mouth. So we don't know what this story is really. We can take a pretty logical guess. However, there's still that, 1% that maybe things are not as they seem. But what it looks on the surface is that this is maybe a victim. But we don't know if she's keeping him in a quasi alive state for future nourishment, or whether he's actually just kicked the bucket. And so that's something that she would need to plan out according to her circumstances. But as an onlooker, we can only see circumstantial evidence that it seems as though this is the victim, and she's done what she needs to do with him. Basically, you need to figure out where you are in this story scheme. Do you feel like this character, or do you feel like this character more? And so this is what is the unspoken or unconscious part of this particular reading. However, the page is asking you to open up your energy field and take down the walls of protection. So my guess is, it does look like you are at the cusp of something big here. And it's connected to an emotional thing which is triggered in this particular relationship that you're planning to embark on. And once you engage in this relationship, it's going to change you basically forever. As said by Lowly Sprout on the internet doing tarot. Now let's reveal our mystery card here. Okay, so like I said before, this is the action to take. Okay, transcendence. Okay, so yes, currently what's happening here is actually a life test. Now, honestly, from this point on, I don't know what this actually means in your life. My guess, just by looking at the cards, this person is a hugely impactful person that has come into your life. And if this isn't a romantic connection, then it could be like, for example, it's a little far-fetched, but maybe like you're being signed on, like you're an artist and somebody has discovered you and you're planning to sign this like 5-year contract with this company kind of thing, because this charismatic manager has told you or promised you everything. So it's a relationship that basically is going to change you in a very, very strong, fundamental way. And so this is a test. This is a test for you to go through. And as with everything in life, fundamentally, the most important lesson is to experience life. So don't grab onto notions of right or wrong, good or bad so strongly. Just understand that there are some experiences that we need to go through in order to evolve. And it appears as though this situation is going to be one of those turning point relationship situations. Okay, I hope that was as clear as mud. And I hope that helped in some way. Anyway, thank you as always for allowing me to read for you. And I hope this made sense. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Bye.